All right, there is two types of freshwater biomes. What are they?
Lentic and loaded.
Lentic means what? Still, good. Two main types. Lentic is still or standing water, and loadic or lotic is really, should be flowing water. So we're gonna focus on standing water. And basically for this unit, all you have to know about freshwater biomes is kind of an example of each, not so much detail. It's when we do the second unit of water where we focus a little bit more on freshwater. So standing water, what is this?
A lake or a pond.
Good.
Are all lakes considered lentic?
Oh, it's actually a swamp. It's hard to tell, right? But a swamp is a freshwater or standing water biome, and that would be a wetland. Can wetlands be saltwater?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Then you've got, it's kind of delayed. What are those? Anybody know?
Marsh. Everglades.
Marsh, and what else?
Are those Everglades?
Shh. Everglades can have a variety of these little, I mean, they can be marine. These are bogs. Have you ever heard of a bog?
Yes. Wait, is a lake?
And marsh. And marshes can be saltwater as well.
What about estuaries?
Estuaries are where saltwater and freshwater combine. So it's, and will be surrounded by a wetland. So, and they form brackish water, correct. These lakes is another freshwater, standing water, or lentic freshwater.
You know that has a current?
And a ponds. Yeah, lake are really considered standing water. Rivers would be flowing, okay?
I never understand the difference.
Well, the river flows and a lake doesn't. Now, lakes and ponds are the only lentic freshwater biomes that have zones, and they're similar to the marine environment. So let's name the zones, yes?
What did you mean by light?
I'm sorry?
On the previous slide, it said like
I'm going back.
this light penetrates.
So we're gonna do lake zones, okay? Which basically a lake has depths, so we could name zones. And just like in the marine environment, I'm gonna name horizontal zones first, and then the vertical zones. So the littoral zone, think of it as a lit or light, think of it near the shore. I guess that's an easy way to remember. You're gonna have plants, or describe this for me. What do you see here?
Lands.
Downhill.
Okay, you saw downhill, you saw above water. Land plants. What do plants have to be adapted to here?
Water.
Water. They have to be adapted to living both in the water and out of water, because there's going to be, at different times, right, higher levels of water. So you're going to have submerged plants or aquatic plants, but you're also going to have plants that can live both on land and water, or adapt to both. Yes?
It's still under lentic.
This is the littoral zone of a lake, which is part of a lentic freshwater. All right. You're going to have the same floor zone. It's called the benthic zone. And then as we move out, sunlight penetrates the entire littoral zone. That makes sense because it's shallow. As we move out, we have the limnetic zone, or the open water of a lake. So this is where you have a drop in the floor and depth occurs. So euphotic means what?
No, like,
Light. Light. Euphotic means light. So obviously the top part of the limnetic zone will be euphotic, or a light zone. And then you're going to have the twilight zone, which is called what?
the twilight zone.
Twilight zone starts with what?
Aphotic.
No. Aphotic is no light. Twilight twinkles.
Antiphotic.
Dysphotic. Write that down if you didn't remember. At least you wrote it down twice. And then you have the deep zone. Profundo in Spanish means profundo. So if you know Spanish, it kind of helps with some of these words. And that is no light, which is what?
Wait, are we doing vertical zones?
Aphotic, yeah. So if we look at a lake starting from the shore out, what are the two zones? Raise your hand.
Littoral and
Littoral and limnetic. Littoral being near the shore, limnetic being out where the benthic zone, which is the floor of the lake, drops and you have depth, okay? In the limnetic zone, you have light zones because you have shallow waters leading to deep waters, yes? So what's the top layer called? Who could tell me? These would be vertical zones. Photic, or what's another word for photic? Euphotic. Photic means light, euphotic means the whole zone contains light. Then as you go deeper in the lake, and yes, a lake can have these three layers, where do you head to?
Twilight.
The twilight, which is called the what zone?
Dysphotic.
Dysphotic. And then as you head to the deepest part of the lake, it's called the what?
Aphotic.
Profundo, which, if you're going to describe the lights of the profundo zone, aphotic or no light. If I was to ask you, does the littoral zone have a benthic zone? What's your answer? Yes.
Everything has a benthic.
Everything, the benthic zone. Now, which benthic zone is euphotic? The littoral. Limnetic's benthic zone would be what?
Profundo.
Twilight.
Aphotic.
Wait, aphotic is profundo.
No.
Well, that's not describing a light.
Exactly. Description of lights
That's
is euphotic, dysphotic, and aphotic.
Wait, then how do you pronounce? Then how is euphotic? That's light also. So,
Euphotic and photic means the same thing.
so is there anything
Look,
describing?
here's how it works. Shh. Photic means light zones.
Right.
Okay. The lit zone is euphotic.
Okay.
Okay. Twilight zone, dysphotic. No light is aphotic. In a lake, you have a profundo zone, which is the deepest part of the lake. What is the light like in that part of the lake? Aphotic. And as you start swimming up from the profundo zone, where do you end up? Dysphotic, or the twilight zone. And once you reach the top of the limnetic zone, where are you? Euphotic, where there's light.
Wait, is this?
Flowing water. What's a flowing water example? I have pictures. What's that? River. And that? A creek or a stream? Rivers and streams, I have no idea.
I hate this.
Alright, so, this is way out of